And I'm just giving people just a minute to join, and then we'll dive into everything here in just a moment. And I'll talk about the latest information that I'm getting here. We'll do a little more of an in-depth this go around here. I'm going to walk over to the wall here in just a minute. So it looks like we got some people joining us. So what I want to do here is I want to talk about the threat for the severe storms overnight tonight and quickly talk about the wind threats for tomorrow. A lot of wind coming in tomorrow. We got people that watch us all over the region here now. It's not just in Texoma, although that's where the vast majority of the people are. But I've also got people down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that watch us. And, my target and my goal here is to always give you the good information and not the bad stuff, not the overhyped stuff that you see all over social media here. I want to give you the good stuff so you can rest assured that the situation is not going to get out of hand, that kind of thing here. And you got a trusted source. So let's dig into the details here if we can. So let's talk about the severe weather events. I'm going to change sources, so give me just a moment here. Well, I'm not sure what's going on. For some reason, I don't have audio there on some of this here. So maybe it's give me a second here. Maybe I can figure this out here. Give me a second. Hmm. For some reason, I don't have audio here on this, and that's what I want the audio on. I'm not sure why I do not have the audio. If you do hear me, let me know so I can dig into it. Let's get this issue fixed before we go into anything. So let me know what you hear. For some reason, this is not working here. Let me see if let me check out this part of it here and make sure everything is all right on this end. Check 1 2 3 1 2 3. Check 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Looks like I was muted on OBS. So let me see if that fixed the issue here. Give me a second. Looks like I was muted on OBS. So let me see if that. Check 1 2. All right, there it did. Check 1 2. All right, there it did. All right, so I got it fixed now. So we can now we can get into it now. Okay. All right. So can you guys still hear me now? Can you hear me now? I think you probably can. So all right, so let's dig into everything and talk about what's going on, because I know that a lot of you out there are nervous, and I just my thoughts and my feelings towards a lot of these social media posts these days, and there's so many different. Now let me take a step back here. There are some of them out there that are okay, that are good. They're good here, but I think that what happens is you probably have these guys that are probably weather enthusiasts that get excited about things, so they throw that out there on social media. It's not to inform you. It's either one of two things. Either they're trying to get likes and follows and whatnot, or they're just out there just excited about the weather. I know that is another train of thought with all that. So let's talk about it. So this whole entire red area here runs the risk for severe weather. I would say 9, 10 o'clock at the earliest. It would be here on the very far western edges of this red area here first. And it looks like it'll extend through about 4, maybe 5 a.m., probably more like 4 a.m. In the early morning hours on Tuesday here. So we got this big storm coming in. You got the dry line coming in. Thunderstorms develop out here first, and they're going to develop quickly. But the good news is these are going to develop into a line really, really fast. And a line of storms compared to supercells, this certainly is your best case scenario. Supercell is one individual thunderstorm or a couple individual thunderstorms either grouped together or they're completely separate, and they're able to gobble up all of everything in the atmosphere and focus all that energy in one spot, and they're able to produce longer, bigger, stronger lasting tornadoes. If you get a line of thunderstorms, that's not the case. Everything is spread out. The energy's focused over a more spread out area here, so it's more of a wind threat and quick spin up type tornado threat as opposed to supercells here. I usually would be, in a situation like this, I'd be far more concerned if we were seeing signals for supercells overnight tonight than the line of thunderstorms here. So it first develops out west. I still think that this area here, and I'm not saying the west won't get a spin up or two as well, but there seems to be maybe a better signal for some slightly better moisture return over into this area. And the darker red, that would be from, near just east of Wichita Falls, Henrietta, Bowie, Duncan, over towards Waurika, kind of up towards or just to the south of Oklahoma City, just kind of southeast of there. And then it goes down along I-35, northwest of Dallas, just near or north of Fort Worth, kind of over in this area here too. But again, even here, your main threat is just going to be strong wind gust. So at nighttime, you lose that daytime heating. You lose the sun, of course. You lose the daytime heating here. And the boundary layer cools. And so when the parcel of air rises to develop a thunderstorm here from the Earth's surface, it only rises as long as it's warmer than the surrounding environment. Well, as the atmosphere cools, you got to think the temperatures start to lift upwards, and then they encounter an area above the Earth's surface that's warmer than that parcel of air. I hope I'm not confusing you, by the way. So it can't rise anymore. So what happens in these situations, this storm system is so strong, it's forcing the air up. It doesn't matter if it's stable or not out there. It's forcing the air up, but it might force the air up just above the Earth's surface. So these storms may be a little bit elevated, and that would also help us out as well. Now, if it was stronger instability outside or this system was coming through in the middle of the afternoon, I'd be a little more concerned about it here. So again, line of thunderstorms between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. Out west earlier, far east would be the later, and then in the morning hours, just a truck over here east of I-35 here and move over into eastern Texas later on tomorrow morning, and then over into Gulf Coast states by this time tomorrow afternoon. Once that moves on by, then we get the storm center itself, which is very, very energetic. It's going to be moving north of us here and going to create a lot of strong winds. Tomorrow it's going to be a very windy day across the area. So here's our storm system, and this is a powerhouse, folks, and it is rapidly intensifying on the east side of the Rocky Mountain states, and this thing is going to move across the northern parts of Kansas and northern part of Oklahoma and southern parts of Kansas tonight and tomorrow, and it has got a lot of wind energy with it. When in wind energy, I mean there's just strong winds, not only at the Earth's surface with it, but also the further up you go in the atmosphere, a lot of wind energy. So as this thing kicks out, it's going to help push this dry line to the east, and we got moisture increasing some from the Gulf, not a lot, but early March you're not going to get too much, but just enough. And as that dry line encounters it, you'll see thunderstorms blow up out here first, and then they move to the east. If we look at our checklist here, and whenever we're looking for severe weather, we have a checklist we like to look at here and see what's present and what's not. So we'll talk about this one in a minute, instability. All right, so with this system, as I was saying a moment ago, it's got a lot of wind energy with it. The jet stream winds at all levels of the atmosphere, very strong. So that's contributing to not only strong upper level winds with this strong upper level piece of energy, this big storm center in the atmosphere, but you're also having strong shear. Shear is just in the atmosphere where the winds increase with height or they change direction with height, and it can cause the atmosphere to kind of turn and kind of spin some here. And you also got this dry line and cold front. So we've got the ingredients that we need to get thunderstorms here. We've got a storm system, we got everything in place, but this is going to be our limiting factor here, like I was saying a moment ago. If this were in the middle of the afternoon, or let's say late afternoon, then this would be higher, and then you could get a better chance for supercells to form. But since this is not super intense here, the storm center itself is going to rush out and it's going to force all the air up at one time. It's going to be one big long line of thunderstorms. So overnight tonight, this is what I'm expecting, and this will be into the early morning hours. This is for just about everybody, but maybe in that little darker red area, maybe a slightly better chance. I'm going to go with kind of the medium-low end chance for some spin-ups here in that line of thunderstorms. Maybe a little hail. Your better threat for the larger hail will be with the initial storms out west. As the line moves eastward, you're looking at more of like the size of peas, pennies, peas, that kind of stuff here. High wind as the line organized, especially the eastern parts of the area here, not too worried about flooding. So this is what we call significant tornado parameter, okay? And I know this looks scary behind me. I'm going to explain it here to you. What this is basically showing is where an atmosphere would be favorable for storms to produce tornadoes. Most of the time, you'd be more concerned about this with supercells. Now, a lot of storms can also produce them, and they will, but they're not the same kind. They're not the same variety. Now, this really maxes out here over western parts of Oklahoma. Now, if a supercell could develop, and this is where your storms first form up here, if they could remain individual and they could root themselves, I'm talking about the base of the thunderstorm could root itself lower in the atmosphere, then it could take advantage of this initially, and they could produce tornadoes if that were the case here. But again, if these storms are just slightly elevated, then it can't tap into all this as well. So the chances for getting a lot of tornadic activity with this type of a scenario would be lower. Now later tonight, you can still see quite a bit of reds and purples off to the east. As that line moves eastward again, it may encounter some better moisture over in here, so that might allow for the boundary or the bottom layer of the storms maybe to get a little bit closer to the Earth's surface here. But by this point in time, they're probably more of a line, and everything's lined up. But still, this type of environment can still cause some of these storms in the line to spin up real fast. But typically speaking, when you deal with spin-ups in a line of storms, tornadoes that is, they're the weaker variety. I'm talking about usually EF0, EF1s. Now, they can occasionally get a little stronger, but that's kind of more the exception than the rule here. Now, here's the latest. This is as of this evening. You can see by 9:30, there's your first thunderstorms, and initially a hail risk with them. Look at how quickly that develops out there. That's this big storm system kicking in, and all that air is being lifted up at once. Now, initially, some of these might have some of that little supercell characteristic, but they might be slightly elevated here, so that's good news. Now, as they move eastward, you can see this line of thunderstorms really gets going. Now, one thing you would have to watch out for and would pose more of a significant threat if you were to get an individual thunderstorm or two that were to develop out ahead of the line, or you were to get more of kinks in the line and more of a way of scattered storms in the south end. Now, if this were to happen, then you might have a better chance for tornadoes. But right now, I still think this will be mostly aligned. We'll see if any of these thunderstorms can try to develop into supercells, but you can see how quickly everything is just mostly linear here. But even down towards Jacksboro, Graham, these areas here will have to be watched. We're going to watch the entire area overnight tonight. And I'm not ruling out all severe weather hazards. I'm just saying that the main threat is wind, smaller hail, and the spin-up type tornadoes. That's what we're keeping an eye on. So what should you do? This is anybody in this area that's watching me right now. Have a way to get warnings. That's your number one thing you should always do. Have multiple ways to get warnings. You want to be get woke up in the middle of the night by these things, okay? You cannot rely on outdoor tornado sirens. They're good to have, but they're not going to always be totally reliable. They could, they could fail, or a power glitch could happen, or you may not hear them. So you need to have multiple ways to get warnings. An app, a good weather app. A good weather app is your First Alert 6 weather app. And I don't care where you are, you can set it to follow you, you can set it to a specific location, you can set it to alert you of certain types of warnings. And it will alert you, and it'll wake you up if you have your sound turned on. A NOAA weather radio. It's a bit of old school technology, but that is still a good way to get it. You can hit alert, program the counties, hit alert, and it'll wake you up in the middle of the night. Also, remember to follow good, reliable sources here, and be careful about all that stuff, everything you see out there on social media. I know there's a post that's gone viral this afternoon, and it's not so much the graphic that the individual made, because the graphic itself isn't bad. It's the way he words it, and it creates all this hysteria and creates all this confusion and all this storm anxiety here. So that's why I always say to make sure you have a good reliable source to follow, a good, maybe you do follow a source on social media that you like, and and that's okay. And if it's me or if somebody else, that's okay. Your local TV meteorologist is always good to follow as well. The National Weather Service is good to follow. Twitter or X, that's a good source. Well, it is, but it isn't a good source for some weather information, especially if you follow the right people. There's also a lot of garbage on that as well. So I'm going to walk over here and try to answer some questions now if I can. All right, so I am now back here. So let's try to answer some questions here from you if I can. So Robert here in Baltimore, Maryland. What's up there? Thank you for the follow there. All right, so let's see what we have here. So after this, is there any more nasty storms? Of course, we're in spring. We're going to have nasty storms. We're going to have severe weather, and we're going to have tornadoes. That's just all there is to it. And you can really, any state in the United States can see that, especially in the springtime. I think Alaska maybe would be more the exception, but yeah, if you live in the southern part of the country, central southern United States, we're going to be dealing with that. But nothing is showing up on the horizon right now. So I'm asking Ken Johnson, I'm asking a question. Should Oklahoma City be hit by severe storms and possible flooding? We need, I don't know about flooding because the line's going to be moving pretty quickly there. But there's going to be a line of severe storms impacting the Oklahoma City area probably around midnight there. Gusty winds, low wind threat for a tornado or two spinning up in that area as well. So. It should be, Tiffany, yes, the app should be available on Android. It's just type in First Alert 6 weather app. I can probably pull it up here on my phone. Of course, this is a an iPhone. Let's see here. First Alert 6 weather app. And there it is. Right. That's the first one you see there. But that's a good app there. All right. So let's see. You haven't really missed anything there. We're just kind of breaking it down, Katie. Not a whole lot's going on right now in Wichita Falls. It'll be closer to midnight or maybe after midnight before we get anything here. We're looking at winds here. I mean, it could have gusted up above 50 miles per hour. It's possible. And into the Iowa Park area, probably, midnight, 1 a.m. time frame, somewhere in there. So, of course, we'll be watching it here. We got myself and Cameron Lindsay and Jaden Knowles will all be here tonight, keeping an eye on things. We'll have Cameron out in the storm tracker, and then myself and Jaden will be here at the studio, keeping an eye on things here. So wind, heavy rain with a line of thunderstorms, a couple quick spin ups also possible. And again, if we were to get some breaks in the line or maybe a supercell or two, the tornado threat would perhaps go up a little, but right now it looks like more of a line than anything else. So, but we're going to keep an eye on it for it. Like I say, we're going to have, we got the whole team keeping an eye on it here for you overnight tonight, just in case something does happen and the unexpected happens. And, of course it's weather and the unexpected, and things can happen from time to time. I know I give these guys a hard time on social media, and I'm not against people posting weather, being weather enthusiasts and posting stuff on social media. What I am against is just the scary wording. There's a right way and a wrong, and that's why, a TV weather person, TV meteorologist is usually, or someone who's been doing it a long time, is usually more laid back. And we've seen this stuff so many times that, 9 times out of 10, the bark's much worse than the bite. So there are signals sometimes in the atmosphere that'll tell you, hey, we need to be a little more concerned than others. And then, but again, I don't mind, the guys posting stuff on social media. I just hate the overhype. That guy, the person who posted this, is talking about dangerous situation. Those are just not words that need to be used. There's a time and a place for that. My biggest concern is there's just all this crying wolf syndrome out there, and there's so much of it, and it is all over social media. So these things are going to they're going to keep on posting all this stuff, and nothing happens, and people are going to start ignoring it. And unfortunately, they lump me into that as well. And then they're going to start ignoring me, and then the wolf is going to really come, and it's going to be bad. It's going to be all over with. So that's why I'm so against all this overhype. It all gets started with certain individuals on the social media. Then the Storm Prediction Center gets hold of it, and they start putting stuff out there too, which, I don't have a problem with the Storm Prediction Center. They do what they're supposed to do. They err on the side of caution, and they do a good job. But, it's that stuff and the wording on Storm Prediction Center that where a lot of these bozos out there start posting all this stuff. So anyway. No, it isn't something you should be staying up for all night. Just have a way to get warnings. That is it. Just have a way to get warnings. And, we'll be on top of it. We're here all night tonight watching it for you. I'm actually about to go on dinner break now. And then I'll be back at my normal time, and we'll do an update on social media when I get back, because we'll do some updates as the line is forming. A lot of times these lines form sooner than expected, and a lot of times they move faster than expected. Lines can move really, really fast, so the time frames and whatnot may be adjusted some as we get into the event. But as of right now, I think about 1-2 a.m. here in the Falls probably. Should be out of here by the time you get up in the morning. But the wind tomorrow, it could be some power outages. It's going to be big. All right, everybody, I'm off. I'm out of here. Remember to give me a follow and like if you'd like to there, and make sure you share this with your friends so they can. Yes, April, it will give you warnings. So let me walk you guys through this before I get out of here. So I got somebody asking me where the First Alert 6 weather app give you warnings here. So I'm going to open up my app here, okay? So I'm going to my app here. And when it opens up, you're going to see where I can actually send out updates on the app from time to time. And I do. I can actually send it out from here. And, sometimes you'll get a little update on there. But it'll show you the temperature, and then it'll show you a radar, then a forecast. And that forecast is usually updated by myself. But what you do is the little 3 bars in the upper right-hand corner, you click on that, and then you go to settings. Well, first of all, put your location in. It may ask you, it'll say follow me, or put your your location that you want it to warn for. I would suggest follow me is what I would do. My phone has got a big glare on it, of course. So then you go to settings, and do you want News Channel 6 alerts? I would turn that on because whenever I send an alert out right here, like if I do an update, it'll alert you there with that. Then it says weather notifications and notification sounds. Make sure the notification sounds are on. Then you go into where it says weather notification types, and then you just turn on what you want, like turn on for severe, turn on for tornado, whatever you want. It lets you turn it on. And if the sound is turned on, you'll get those alerts right there. It's really a pretty cool little app. I like it. So, all right, everybody, I'll have another update probably coming up around 9:15, 9:30 tonight. Until then, everybody have a good evening, and don't be too worried about this. And if you're having storm anxiety, don't. You know me, I'll tell you if you really need to worry about it. If anything changes, I'll be sure to let you know. And then, you got some good people here keeping an eye on weather overnight for you anyway. Those of you watching down in Dallas, if you're nervous, no need to be nervous there either. You've lived through much worse than this before, I can assure you.